Nigerians are expected to seek out the best.
Two words to describe the activity.
The Yoruba Unity Forum is conducted.
Be the first to know. From the north, south, east, west, and around Africa.
Presidential
we break the news.
Women in Nigeria.
Now you can catch all the actions live
as
the news breaks. We are Core TV News.
Welcome to Core TV Primetime
News. A 24-hour news station.
The much talked about February is here, everyone. Good morning, congratulations, and welcome to the brand new month of February as we count down to the much talked about 2015 general elections. It's just less than 14 days to go. The big question on the show today would be, how prepared are you and your family to actively participate in the general elections this month? All right, we'll kickstart with some developing stories, and of course this will be the second time in 2 weeks that Boko Haram will be launching an attack on Borno State capital Maiduguri. But the good news is that just like the first encounter they had, the second time the Nigerian military was there to give them a run for their money. Of course, members of the local vigilante group, the civilian JTF, were also part of the initiative that pushed back the invaders. Local residents say scores of Boko Haram members were killed during the battle that raged for hours, and defense headquarters has since confirmed that the terrorists suffered heavy casualties through its Twitter feed. You might want to ask, what exactly is Boko Haram looking for in state capitals? Trust the PDP, they're cashing on greatly on these as they have praised the gallantry of officers of the Nigeria Armed Forces in repelling the insurgents in Borno and other troubled states in the north. PDP National Publicity Secretary Lisa Metu said in a statement in Abuja that these men are really heroes of Nigeria, no doubt sacrificing, risking their lives to protect those of the Nigerian citizens and intensifying efforts to ensure that the nation is rid of terrorist activities. He also, however, condoled with the families of victims of the attacks while also comforting the displaced and the wounded, and prayed God to restore enduring peace in the country. Meanwhile, reports reached us yesterday that the Yobe State town of Potiskum, of course, a suicide bomber detonated explosives in front of a house of a member of the House of Representatives, Gogarvo. Witnesses say that the explosions led to the death of an unidentified number of people, and also disclosed that the suicide bomber walked to the front of the House member before blowing himself up. It's however not clear if the bomber targeted the House of Reps member, but Potiskum has been the scene of over 4 suicide bomb attacks in the last few weeks. It's obvious that Boko Haram is finding it hard to achieve success in the area of field gun battle, as the Nigerian military seems to be at the top of their game. But I think where Nigerians need to watch out for is the use of suicide bombers in all of these. Prior to this time, a newspaper report came out that the APC presidential candidate Muhammadu Buhari will subject the military and other arms of government to probes if elected president in the February 14 election. Well, he's out to deny that report. He says that it is important for Nigerians to note that that is not a reflection of his intention if he wins election this February. He says his administration, if it comes out victorious in the February 14 election, will deal with all cases of impunity and corruption, no matter who is involved. And also quoted Buhari as saying that he is passionately concerned about the conditions of the armed forces at the moment. According to the statement, the APC presidential candidate lamented that despite huge budgetary allocations, the country has failed to effectively deal with security threats, including the Boko Haram terrorism. Well, last week, Friday, before we left on the show, we talked about the growing call for peace at the February polls, especially in the light of certain statements by some stakeholders as touching the outcome of the 2015 election. This time around, Jamaatul Nasrul Islam has also urged the former Niger Delta militants Tompolo and Asari Dokubo to desist from heating up the polity ahead the February polls. General Secretary of the Islamic Group, Khalid Abubakar Aliyu, said at a news conference in Kaduna that the atmosphere is becoming charged because of the war threats made by the duo. GNI added that clashes between rival political supporters and other incidents of political violence are also creating a tense atmosphere similar to what was witnessed in 2011. The group, however, advised all stakeholders involved in the search for peace to step up their initiatives. Also, in the light of condemning these threats and drumming up beats for war ahead the February polls, the APC says the DSS and the police are guilty of double standards and lack of fairness following their silence on the war threats by two ex-militants, Asarido Kubo and government Ekpemo Polo. Of course, in a statement issued in Lagos by its national publicity secretary, Lai Mohammed, the party said it's insightful to note that the same security agencies that reacted to the harmless comments by Governor Rotimi Amechi have suddenly lost their voices when the ex-militants threatened to wage war on the nation. Of course, the opposition party is saying that the implication of the conspiracy of inaction by the DSS and the police is that under the administration of President Jonathan, there are different rules for different Nigerians, wondering how the security agencies can be trusted to provide a level playing ground for all political parties before, during, and after the forthcoming general elections. You recall that last week I had a resource person on the show, and I was asking him, how come certain people make certain statements that legal practitioners seem to have judged to be breaching some particular laws in Nigeria, and how it is becoming impossible to prosecute such elements? And he made mention of the importance for security agencies to tread carefully, especially when some people are deemed fit to have that potential to instigate violence in some parts of the country. So we have a question here, whether indeed we have Nigerians who are literally above the law. And there were quite a number of tweets to that regard too. We had certain people talking about the importance of the Nigerian government to waking up to its responsibility of prosecuting miscreants, especially people who make statements that might incite violence this time, especially political thugs also caught in the act. And many are of the opinion that it is quite important at this time to bring these people to book, to show and create example for others. Of course, Awal Umar on our Twitter handle says we should not beat around the bush. The truth is that there are people who are actually above the law in this country. Well, let's move away from there. There are much talk as regards how prepared the electorate are as regards this forthcoming election. How prepared are you? That's the question we're asking you. If you can quickly pick your phone and let me hear from you this morning. How prepared are you? Have you gotten your permanent voter card yet? Are you decisive yet? Have you made that decision as regards actively participating in the 2015 elections? Of course, apparently in response to huge public cry, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has extended the deadline for collection of permanent voter cards to Sunday, 8th February 2015. This information was contained in a statement issued by the Chief Press Secretary to INEC Chairman Kayode Idowu in Abuja on Sunday. He said this latest information supersedes the earlier deadline of Saturday, 31st January. So as we welcome a brand new month, the good news for all Nigerians is that if you've not gotten your permanent voter card yet and you have registered, you have another grace of 7 days after now. Idowu said the extension was intended to give registered voters yet to collect their PVCs the opportunity to do so in readiness for the February 2015 general election. So it doesn't matter how hard you've tried. It doesn't matter how painful the process was. I believe that it's worth it if we can go all the way to get that PVC, because obviously that's the only way you can register your voice ahead another 4-year term for all of these political posts that will be open for election this February. So have you gotten your PVC yet? And how prepared are you really for the 2015 election? That's the question of the day on the show today. Of course, we also have political parties pitching tents with one another, quite a number of political parties in Nigeria. But it looks as if two of them enjoy the greatest media hype as regards the presidential election in February. But the good news for the PDP is that the national leader of the All Progressives Grand Alliance, APGA, and the governor of Anambra, Willie Obiano, says that President Goodluck Jonathan remains the presidential candidate of the party for the 2015 general elections. Obiano stated this during the flag-off and campaign rally of APGA held at the OKHAI Palace ground in Abeokuta.
This presidential election is Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, and I ask everybody, particularly the people from the southeast, to vote massively for Goodluck Ebele Jonathan. All I can tell you is that INEC is trying their best. INEC is trying their best. Well, I believe they are. If they are not, they wouldn't have gone all the way to this time.
Elect a God-fearing man who has the capacity to govern in the person of Professor Bambushi. All our other candidates, we urge you to vote for them. APGA is a progressive party. It is a democratic party where people are not oppressed. If you are the best, you are given the opportunity to offer your best in the service of the people.
What group you want to belong to? When you have looked at what they have to offer, what they promise, then you join them and to go and together with them realize the dream of that group or association.
I have my first caller on the show this morning. It's Omera calling in from Kaduna. Good morning, Omera.
Yeah, good morning.
How are you today and how is Kaduna?
I'm all right, I'm all right. Your program is interesting.
Thank you very much.
We have been hearing about this collection of PVC, collection of PVC.
Okay.
This is called the voters. It is not the voters' problem. I have been to my what they call water several times, up to 6 times, and people are not willing to spend some of this PVC, and they're not willing to give it to me. The same applies to some other people in the same word. The word is MEA, Badrawa Kaduna.
Okay.
So if the result comes out, many people are disenfranchised in Kaduna here, in the same word, because many of us who wanted to vote, gather ourselves and go to INEC. I don't know, we don't know what is happening there.
Have you registered?
We are all willing, we are all anxious, we want to vote to the right person, and we want a government that will be ideal for Nigeria.
Omera, have you registered at any time, maybe in 2011 or in the...
I have my temporary voter card.
So what exactly...
I'll just go there with it.
What exactly is the challenge? What exactly are they telling you at the local government?
They will look at the name on the temporary voter card and say, oh, your card is not there.
Okay,
and
so...
they were even making jest of some of us by saying also, oh, you can vote with the temporary voter card.
Are you kidding? Oh, okay.
So, I don't know. So INEC is making a mistake by claiming that people refuse to come and collect their voter card.
Can you mention the name of the local government again?
Sorry?
What's the name of your local government again?
It is MEA, Badrawa Kaduna.
It's all right. Thank you for your contribution this morning.
Thank you very much.
Hope it gets better for you over there. Well, last week there was also insinuation as regards the position of the president of the Living Faith Church, also known as Winners Chapel, as regards some utterances that were allegedly uttered from that quarters. Of course, there were people saying that the bishop at the time Mr. President visited had unleashed the gate of hell on anyone who doesn't vote for Mr. President, or perhaps unleash the gate of hell on anyone working against peace in Nigeria. But the question the church is asking now is for anyone with a video clip to come up with it, because that particular service was televised. And now the Living Faith Church has dismissed reports that its founder, David Oyedepo, vowed to unleash the gate of hell on anyone who opposed the re-election bid of President Jonathan. The church in a statement actually said those spreading the rumor should have obtained the video clips of the service and verify the claim. The church added that the rumor is the handiwork of mischief makers. It also says Oyedepo did not call the president to the altar for any special cleansing or deliverance. The church concluded that the president did not come to the altar for any special blessing as alleged, and that he also sounded a note of caution before his speech about people reading meanings into his presence in the church. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Welcome to Call Digest. What's your name and where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Abba.
Abba, what's your name?
My name is Blessing.
Blessing from Abba. How prepared are you for the February election?
Yes, I'm very much prepared because I've gotten my PVC card.
You've gotten your PVC. Blessing, did you say you've gotten your PVC?
Yes, I've gotten it.
Oh, congratulations. And you're ready to go out to vote?
I'm very much ready.
All right. Congratulations to you, Blessing from Abba. Good to hear that. I wish you all the best in your participation in the election this month, so to speak. All right, let's wrap this up by also intimating you about the position of the Lagos State Governor. You recall that last week we reported him talking about the PDP gubernatorial candidate who he says have not been paying his tax for about 4 years now. Of course, Lagos State Governor Babatunde Fashola insists that the governorship candidate of the PDP, Jimmy Agbaje, is owing a 4-year tax on one of his properties. Now, this is in response to a rebuttal in some newspapers by JK Pharmacy Limited. Speaking through his special advisor on media, Hakeem Bello, the governor said in a statement that the issue at hand has to do with the property on 9 Randall Close, Apapa. He noted that the land use charge on the business premises of JK Pharmacy at Randall Close was not paid for 2009, 2010, 2011, and 2012. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Are you turned down the volume of your TV set?
Yes, I've done that.
What's your name?
Good morning.
Good morning. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Engineer Temple from Owerri.
Engineer Tanko.
Temple of God.
Oh, Temple from Owerri. How are you today?
Yes, from Owerri.
Tell me, how prepared are you for the elections?
I'm very much prepared. I'm not selling my vote. My PVC is meant for who I want to vote for.
That's good. And you're not in any way scared to go out on February 14 to vote, are you?
Come again?
I said you're not in any way scared or afraid to go out on February 14 to vote.
I thought I'd take it. There'll be no shaking. Not the say go come.
Good to hear from you. I hope that everyone in Owerri will also share the idea.
But what advice I would give to Nigerians and our politicians is that,
Yes.
You get me? Are you hearing me?
Yes, very clear.
Advice I would give to our politicians and our electorate and our candidates and so on is that they should stop criticism. Many of them make some kind of statement that can ginger violence. This is wrong. In America, let us take America as an example, or let us take Britain as an example. All these things never go. There has never been a time they will criticize this person that this person was naked in the bedroom, or this person was bathing, we saw him, this and that. Our political system, what are we teaching our younger ones? You get me right?
Yes, I am.
What our younger ones? So I just pray that we use this forum to advise our politicians. They are not teaching us the way to go. They are not teaching us the way forward. Many criticisms are making people just be tired of this election. The whole Awutas, whether now, many of them are traveling back to North because they say maybe one wahala may occur or one thing. As I'm talking with you, I have evidence. I have facts. My gate man left because he said that his father called him that after the election he's coming back. So please just use this forum to advise, because if you want to vote for PDP, let it be in your mind. If you want to vote for APC, let it be in your mind, and not to be causing problem in the air.
It's all right. Engineer Temple, thank you very much for your contribution from Owerri this morning. Of course, reaction trailing the position of Governor Babatunde Fashola on the tax evasion allegation of one of PDP, of course, one of Jimmy Agbadi's property. He's also raising quite a number of dust here in Lagos. Many are of the opinion that why is the Lagos State Governor actually talking about that now? Few weeks to election, and does that not even indict him as a leader? If indeed the company has evaded tax for 2009, 2010, 2011, and 2012, how come you are making it of public knowledge in 2015? Okay, so many questions that Mr. Governor also might want to answer. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to Call Diaries. Can you turn down the volume of your TV set?
Good morning.
Turn down the volume of your TV set. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name is Ibrahim. I'm calling from Ibadan.
Brian from Ibadan.
Exactly.
How's Ibadan today, Ibrahim?
Ibadan are looking good.
How prepared are Ibadan people for the February 14 election?
Yeah, they are preparing well. Everybody is going to INEC and having their PPC.
Have you gotten yours?
Yeah, I've got mine.
Congratulations to you.
Yeah, welcome.
How peaceful do you foresee the elections in Ibadan?
Sorry, come again?
How peaceful do you foresee the February elections in Ibadan?
Surely, I think election will be held peaceful. That's what we are thinking, inshallah.
It's all right. Thank you very much for your contribution, Ibrahim. Ibrahim, regards to the Ibadan people this morning. We'll take a break here, and I'll be back with top stories making headline on some of Nigerian newspapers. Stick around. Don't go away.
Glad to have you join us. Another edition of
The Political Arena.
The most detailed and incisive political show.
You will see all sorts of politicians, even those who cannot manage their homes, will tell you to let them manage your lives. Look well, shine your eyes.
So stomach infrastructure is a way of life. Even if I cannot do anything, and I continue to help your stomach so that your life will keep on going. So my style is without apology. Stomach infrastructure is a way of life for me.
I should ask you, what is going right in this country? Is it education? Is it security? Infrastructure? Is it healthcare? What is going right? Absolutely nothing.
We mean to win Lagos. PDP is going to win Lagos in 2015. And that means that everybody must be on board.
INEC has colluded with the presidency, the opposing party, to rig this election from the data to the end.
The successful conduct of free, fair and peaceful elections in Ekiti is a good omen for the subsequent elections to come, and the 2015 general elections must be the best.
The good, bad, ugly and beautiful sides of the Nigerian political system. Join me every Sunday at 9:15 p.m. on Core TV News.
Nigerians encourage corruption, cites University of the Punch newspaper. Nigerian Governor Forum calls for Okonjo Iweala's resignation. Page 2 of the Punch newspaper. The dailies every day on Core TV News.
Welcome back. Let me quickly intimate you with top stories making headline on some of Nigerian newspapers. We'll start with the Vanguard newspaper this morning. Bloodbath in Maiduguri, Yobe. The writers here, 80 insurgents killed as huge troops save Borno towns. Suicide bomber kills self, 10 others in Yobe. Suspected bombers arrested. PDP Shatima lodged troops. Jonathan Buhari cancel campaigns in Damaturu, Maiduguri. That's on page 54 of the Vanguard. Well, the front page picture tells the story. Suicide attack. 8 workers evacuate injured persons in the suicide blast in Potiskum, Yobe State yesterday. A witness said the bomber emerged from a bus that pulled up in front of the home of Sabo Gabo, who was running for a seat in the House of Representatives. Sad story indeed. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala and the missing trillion. Soludo replies on Okonjo-Iweala. Details of that you'll find on pages 56, 57, and 62. and Imoke bold imprints on tourism. Today, we'll begin the publication of profiles of our personalities of the year. You'll find details of that on page 12 of the Vanguard. Soludo versus Uwela, the pot and the kettle. Page 44. I was reading Soludo's second article this morning. Quite interesting anyway. You might also want to find out details of what the man is talking about. Buhari's burdens are too much for Nigeria. Page 20. And the Mr. and Mrs. here, Justina, I don't give money on Mondays. Where I come from, it's believed that one will give out money throughout the week. And then the wife says, is it a sin for you to give your wife money throughout the week? At the back page of the Vanguard for some sports this morning, Ghana cruise into semi-final, thrash Guinea 3-0. I overheard someone said Nigeria would have won if we participated. I'm wondering where that came from. This one says Djokovic wins 5th Australian Open title and Arsenal thumb Aston Villa. Details on page 63 of the Vanguard. I'm joined now by Victor OKHAI. He's been away from us for a while. I understand he's been traveling around Nigeria. Good morning, Victor.
Good morning.
How are you today?
Very well, thank you.
Let's start with this very interesting one. This one says, Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala and the missing trillions. There's this culture of Nigerian stakeholders coming up to speak against the same system that they worked for. Maybe unlike someone like Sanusi, who spoke against the system while he was still there. What are your thoughts along this trend of people coming up? Of course, we saw Obasanjo coming up to write what he calls his own side of the story. People come up almost every time to condemn the same system that they have worked for.
Well, when you find it, it's sad that you find situations like that. And the reason I say so is an accessory after the fact is just as guilty as, you know, as an accused. If you were in a system and, quote unquote, something was going wrong and you were benefiting and therefore you kept quiet and you come out to speak later, then you're no better than, I mean, you're not even standing on any moral ground. You know, what he just says right now is that Soludo is not a man to be trusted. It means this is nothing but sour grapes, because if you were in the system and you knew that things were happening and you kept quiet, like you talked about Sanusi, rightly or wrongly, whether you like him or not, you have to salute him for the courage that he had to speak. You know, whether what he said was right or wrong, I mean, whether there was any merit in it or not, is a different matter altogether. But he had the courage to speak while in the system. But you find a situation where Soludo, after he had serially failed at attempts to be a governor, you know, he had failed at attempts to gain relevance, suddenly is beginning to, you know, fight the system, which means if he was benefiting from the system, he would keep quiet. So what sort of a man is that?
Does the reputation of the whistleblower affect the facts of the revelation?
No, that's, I mean, in this case, for me, I don't think that is even the issue here. Because when you talk about whistleblowing, what stopped him from blowing the whistle at the time? I mean, why you talk about, when you talk about, if you're coming to equity, you must come with clean hands. So what whistle are you blowing? You're a part of a system? If the system was truly corrupt, you kept quiet, you benefited from it, then because you're losing now, you're blowing the whistle? I mean, it's not to condone. I'm not saying we should ignore, we don't throw the baby with the bathwater. I would certainly not advocate that. But, I mean, you know, you also look at whoever it is that is blowing the whistle and wonder what his motives are.
Let's take this call. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, welcome to Call Digest. What's the name? Where are you calling from?
Mr. Ogutoye. I am Tubiele calling from Akure, Ondo State.
Tubiele, good morning to you. Please go ahead with your contribution.
I want to congratulate myself first that I got my CVC yesterday.
Oh, congratulations.
I encourage my people that they should go and collect their own, because the thing is available actually.
Tugbiele, you know, it's one thing to get your PVC. It's another thing to go out and vote. I hope you are prepared to vote against all odds.
This about my visual, so definitely I will go out, correct some anomalies in this society.
What is
the one of the two that can correct it. I need an honest man, a man with integrity.
It's all right.
A man that his work will be his sponge.
Just hold on, Tugbiele. Victor wants to ask you a question.
Yeah, no, I mean, he said something which I want to commend him about, which is the fact that, the fact that these things are available, but that people have to make the efforts to go and get them, you know, and you just confirmed that. I spoke about that some time ago on the program, that if you make the effort, you go there, you'll get it.
Tugbiele, you confirmed earlier that the PVCs are ready and you need people, you are now telling people to go get it.
Yes, especially those people that did re-registration last year.
Okay.
It's available now.
Exactly.
I encourage my people to go and get it.
Because
of the low level of political consciousness among the people is already affecting the issue. So INEC have already, because they cause it initially, because people have a party when they go there 1-2 times, they won't get it, they see time. So, but now it's available and they do distribution every day at the world level. So
what's the...
people in those states to come out and collect their PVC.
It's all right. What's the credibility of the other side of the story for people who have registered also, who did not find the PVCs? We got a call earlier from Kaduna. Omeri says that he's been to the local government like 1,000 times and all he has is his TVC. Are there such similar complaints too in Akure?
Oh, it's fewer.
It's fewer. It's all right.
But the only complaint initially was that the centralized distribution in only one single unit. But now they've decentralized it. And people have been coming and they've been getting their PVC. And we don't hesitate the shift of the election. In fact, we don't want the election to... We want people to vote because this election, there has been fixed almost 1 year. So the reason for postponing is not justified. And I hope the security situation in the Northeast should improve because even in Syria, where they are fighting war, Pakistan, they are holding election.
It's all right.
So we should rally around INEC, tell them their deficiency, because they are also Nigerians. The security forces, they are also Nigerians. We are suffering from bad governance together. So we should rally around them and ensure we give them the necessary support so that this election will go on free and fair.
It's all right, Tugbiele. Thank you very much for your contribution for Bakura. This is what I call citizen journalism.
Yes. Yeah.
But have you gotten your PVC?
Of course, yes.
Oh, congratulations. Let's move away quickly from the Vanguard and find out what the top stories are on the Punch newspaper. Over 30 trillion naira stolen under Okonjo-Iweala, says Soludo. That's on page 33. We touched on that earlier. The front page picture here shows 8 workers evacuating a man injured in a suicide blast in Potiskum, Yobe State. Troops repel fresh Boko Haram attack on Maiduguri, 82 killed. And suicide bombers killed 13 in Potiskum, Gombe. Jonathan puts up Yobe rally. Yobe rally. Why am I calling Yobe? Yobe rally. Details on pages 2 and 19. INEC extends PVC collection deadline to February 8. That's on page 2. Earlier, there were rumors that it has been extended to February 13. I really didn't know where we got that from. But what's the possibility? It's not really realistic that collections will still be on 24 hours before the main election.
No, I think it is more realistic. Let's see how it goes and how much of it is distributed.
But how do we place this ongoing fight against Boko Haram? At one hand, the PDP is cashing on the fact that there's been a lot of repelling or repulsion, I don't know how we'll put it now, by the Nigerian military. There was a second attempt on Maiduguri over the weekend and it was repelled. But on the other hand, it looks as if the issue of suicide bombing is still a thing of regular occurrence in Nigeria.
Well, I mean, it's important to understand the nature of these two. One is guerrilla, the other is, if you like almost like conventional. The army right now is beginning to get its arms. It's had problems with having arms before now, and so that is being taken care of. The issue of suicide bombing You talk about citizen journalism, but I mean, this time it's citizens intelligence. You know, people have to be alert. There's very little you can do about that. Suicide bombers are regular folks like you and I. In fact, they're more ordinary than any ordinary person. You find, and what makes it even more difficult is that you are in a place where the culture allows for putting on the jalabia complete and all that. And if one is wearing something, you don't know. And you cannot just stop a woman on the street and open up her veil. I mean, you understand what I'm saying? So people can cash in on that, you know. Although this latest one was different. But you find a situation where in a situation like that, the people have to be alert. And we've had cases where they've been able to do that as well. Some in some barracks and in some communities where people see a strange person or notice strange movements, and then they immediately nip it in the bud. So there's a need for more of that. Now, there's nothing that anyone can do about that. But is the army right now doing better? Obviously, yes. You can see that they're getting better motivated. They're fighting back and taking back, you know, lost territories, and they're pushing, you know.
Some are already defining these as issues that will count in the February polls. Do you see it as an issue, really, for the electorate to decide on? Yeah,
of course it is. We know that before now, it's not because the army was not capable. We've seen, if it's a matter of being capable, we've seen them tested in other countries and all that. But we've had a problem of arms. They've not been, I mean, you know that the reason they are not properly equipped or armed is going back to the days of the coup, Babangida days and all that, out of self-survival. First, Babangida moved the seat of government away from Lagos to Abuja, where he felt it would be safer. And then on moving to Abuja, you know, tried to decentralize and immobilize the military for self-preservation. And so both the Air Force, of course, remember during Gideon Oka's coup, where the Air Force was going to be deployed. So many of these forces have been, over the years, starved of funds and of equipment.
Are those legitimate excuses for
the
Jonathan?
No, but they are, because you see, there are so many issues. I mean, this is only one reason. I don't want to use the word excuse. It's only one reason. And don't forget also that the issue of a term I used some time ago, frenemies, friendly enemies. You know, I don't know if there's anything like that, but you know, where you have saboteurs within the system, either for religious or tribal reasons and all that. You saw the case with Nyako, who is on the run right now, who was saying that, you know, I mean, on CNN the other day, we saw child soldiers, Nigerians, released by Boko Haram, not anybody else. Now, if you're confronted with people like that, what do? This same thing happened in Liberia. When they were using child soldiers children to come, and then they will come in droves like that to the military camps, and, you know, in an attempt to try to attend to them and all that, the rebels will come, child sellers rebels will come. And after a point, I said, look, if you're man enough to carry arms or to come and attack us, then if you come, you know, they'll wipe you off. Unfortunately, these are children, you know. But what do you do in a situation like that? You do like Nyako said, it was genocide, you know. When the military was trying to, you know, repress, say, you are killing our people. The northern elders were saying they were killing their people. How do you fight a fight like that?
There are some who are actually of the opinion that the leadership, the present-day leadership, could have done better.
What do you mean by better?
Well, there are lots of instances. Of course, one of the major talked about flops of all time will be the timely admittance of the abduction of the Chibok girls, quote unquote.
You see, when you talk about admittance, you have to have all the facts. You don't just go. Hopefully one day you'll be in government or in a position where you'll be able to take a decision like this. So people just come and tell you that, okay, something has happened. You don't read it from the newspapers. You wait for intelligence report. You wait for your people on the ground to confirm to you upon investigation that such a thing has happened. You'll be irresponsible, and I repeat, irresponsible, as a leader if based on not rumors, until a thing is confirmed, it remains a rumor. Okay? If you just wake up, I mean, on the basis of what you just see in the papers and all that, you admit and say, okay, yes, people have been kidnapped and all that. And so the president needed to take time. and get the facts. And then based on the facts, then you can begin to say, okay, yes, such a thing has happened. What do we do?
Let's take this call. Hello, good morning.
Hello, my name is Abubakar.
Abubakar, where are you calling from? Abubakar, are you there? Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Katsina.
From Katsina.
Yeah.
All right. Go ahead with your contribution, Abubakar. Are you there? I'm afraid we lost that. Were you calling in and able to turn down the volume of your TV set so we can have a crystal clear communication? Don't forget that there is a little delay between what we say here and what you hear on your TV screen. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Nifemi.
Good morning, my brother. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name is Israel, calling from Lagos.
Israel?
Israel, calling from Lagos.
All right, turn down the volume of your TV set. Please go ahead with your contribution.
Yeah, please, Nifemi, my contribution is very simple. I don't know how we can get to Lagos State Governor, who is my governor by all standards, to stop talking about Jimmy Agbade's tax issues. You see, these are the kind of things I don't like. I've said before that I'm a APC advocate, but I will not like where our leaders will want to go off the rail. This is not an issue to be brought in right now, because it means he too is culpable. All those in Lagos tax offices are culpable for bringing out this right now. Please, let's just let it go. We are in election period and we want to win.
It's all right.
We want to win.
It's all right. Have you gotten your PVC, Israel?
I have not got what I will get. I have full assurance that I will get.
It's all right.
And I'm going for it every day and I will get. This is the decider in Nigeria. This election is a decider. And by the grace of God, we will win.
It's all
I'm
right.
sure about it. But then our leaders should take it easy. This is not the time for us to lose it. We are about getting it. We must not lose it. Let's leave every other thing that will distract us and go for the meat. Then I want to praise the Nigerian Army for their gallant show in Maiduguri.
That's a good one.
We show that things are happening.
Yes.
And this is what we expected of our president to do ab initio. You see, because right now you heard the other day that some top military brats have been called to question, have been arrested from their unit, and they are being questioned right now. It means something is happening. And this is what we want to see. Somebody commits an offense, bring the person to book. Or it will teach others a lesson to make them stand up. It's just like Soludo telling us about 3 million whatever missing. That's hogwash. It means he's a member of the corruption. He doesn't have a moral right to talk about it. So let's get this country going, please. Let's stop all these shenanigans up and down and move our nation forward.
Thank you very much for your contribution, Israel from Lagos. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Welcome to Call Digest. Turn down the volume of your TV set.
Welcome, my brother. Good morning.
What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Okay, this is Tochuku calling from Anambra.
Tochuku, how are you today?
I'm very fine.
How is Anambra?
Thank God.
Please go ahead with your contribution, Tochuku.
Okay, I want to say that over here in Anambra, we are very ready with our PVC. That is the last resort of the common man, because we consider it as a very terrible instrument to make changes. Having said that, I want to say that, with the problems with Nigerians is that we pretend a lot. But I, for one, I don't pretend. I say issues the way they are. I want to keep on talking about Agbade's taxation. You see, the problem we have in politics is that we have less integrity people coming into politics. We have those who doesn't deserve being in politics into politics. So during electionary period, we expect to see some of these people who have done evil in the past, who have that secret to hide. We expect to see their secret picked up. That is why I, for one, I support anybody who have done some illegal thing in the past to be exposed when it comes into politics. So except it's not a fact, except you're just formulating. But if the individual has done something wrong in the past, he or she, at least, Nigeria should be exposed. Let Nigerians know. If somebody is a wife snatcher,
and it now comes to become a leader, somebody should dig up the secret and expose the person so that others who have done immoral things in the past will learn a lesson and stay out of. So my point is, if indeed Abaji has evicted tax, it should be an issue. Just like I always support, if somebody has murdered Nigerians in the past or stolen our money and now comes to represent it, we should resist and say and expose the individual. So that is my point. As for Soludo, see, we know his records here. We knew what he did when he was in Indian government. So we don't take him serious over here in the East. That is my contribution.
Thank you very much, Tochiko. Decisive as always. You see, there we are again, between the purpose of exposure and the fact of what is really being exposed. At this time, of course, there are many asking the question that if the business premises, if JK Pharmacy at Randall Close has not paid tax for 2009, 2010, 2011, and 2012, some are saying, what was Lagos State Governor looking for? I mean, waiting for? Why did he have to come and say that a few weeks to the elections? But there are other people who are asking that if it is true that the man evaded tax, isn't that an issue for crying out loud?
Well, first of all, let's even know what the tax is. They talk about ground rent. That's land use charge. That's what it is. That's land use charge.
That's right.
You know, I think we need to put things in proper perspective.
The land use charge on the business premises.
Yes, on the business premises. And the other thing to take note of is that the business is different from the man. What the electoral law expects from you is your personal tax.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying? I may be a shareholder in Union Bank, and if the fact that Union Bank is probably owing land use charge or has not paid its corporate tax has nothing to do with
me. But you don't own Union Bank. That makes
no, you are a shareholder.
Different from
a limited liability company statutorily is owned by not less than 2 people.
Okay.
Not less than 2 people. Sole proprietorship, 1 person, which means 1 and another person, minimum 2 people. Okay? You may be a substantial shareholder, but you know, you are not liable for what the business does. You understand what I'm saying? Because the business is different from you. If the business owes money, the business is dealt with. It's nothing to do with you as an individual.
It's all right. I think you made your point there. Let's move away quickly from the punch because I want us to also talk about some other burning issues before we go on the show today. The Guardian is the next point of call rather. Schools may be shut over polls. Police allay fears. Parents seek public holiday. And NAPS directs members to await government directive. You get details of that on the front page of The Guardian. It continues on page 4 of The Guardian. It's day 294. Bring back our girls. That's what The Guardian is saying. Troops fault fresh attack on Maiduguri, kills calls of terrorists. That's on page 5. African Union seeks financial independence, page 13. Should the schools be on holiday during elections?
Well, it's sad that things have to come to such a point. And why do I say so? After the pact, after the peace pact, there were a few things I expected. I expected all the leaders at every point of the campaign to be able to say to the followers, please, no violence. And I don't hear it. Okay, we know that the president has been saying it from time to time that nobody's life is worth, but I expect even particularly in the more volatile regions in the north, because we know that the north is even more volatile. I expected the APC candidate to begin to say to his followers, please, no violence. No matter what happens, no violence. Okay? And then to reassure non-indigenous in each of these places that of their safety. I was in Sokoto and Kebbi recently, and I saw a couple of people from the southeast, and they were saying to me, there was one in particular whose shop I went to pick up something. He said to me, you know what? Most of my people have left. I'm just saying, I'm just taking a chance, you know, staying back. But even I don't feel comfortable remaining here. That he might leave a few days to the election. And this has been said before, that, you know, people are threatening people. I mean, I'm wondering, when you get votes by coercion or by intimidation or by terrorism, is that truly a mandate or the will of the people? You know? And I do not think it is right. If we had been reassuring, if the leaders had been more responsible, there will be no need to shut down schools. because Nigerians constitutionally can live anywhere in this country, and they should not feel alienated, they should not feel intimidated, they should not be terrorized, you know, because they come from another part of the country.
Apart from the fact that people, you allege now that probably some people are being talked to in a way. Intimidated. Could it also be as a result of the history, the political history in those regions?
No, but obviously that cannot be thrown away, because if you do a trend analysis, that's the only way to make a prediction. So you look at your past, and then based on that you project into your future. And so in this particular case, these areas are volatile. You know, we know that.
Just a minute. Let's take this call. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to Call Digest.
I'm Larry.
Larry from where?
Ondo State.
Ondo State. Larry, you have 1 minute. Go ahead with your contribution.
I want to comment on election violence so far.
Okay.
It's better we put issue from the right perspective. And Mr. Ogutoye, you are a journalist, and in journalism, what we call investigative journalism.
Okay.
It is quite clear that it was not General Buhari that said he will make Nigeria ungovernable. It was
who?
Is the PDP chief taken.
Can you go over that again? Just a minute, Larry.
Jonathan.
Larry, are you there? Just a minute, Larry. Hello? Can you go over that again? You said it was not Buhari, it was who?
Not General Buhari that said he will make Nigeria ungovernable. It was Lawal Keita, who happened to be the chairman of contentious committee of PDP during 2011 election, when they want to do primary. So that was when that statement emanated from. It was Lawal Keita. Lawal Keita is the chieftain of PDP. In fact, he is still in PDP. So people should, especially when PDP apologies, want to cause confusion. You journalists should be helping to put them in the right shape. There are so person mentioned say this and that. I hope that you start the next, you will see it is quite clear. Besides, if you see President Jonathan campaign so far. Hello?
I'm with you. Well, with you. Go ahead.
The state that he has been shown or protest, we are a PDP state. President Jonathan was in Kano. There was numerous crowds that welcomed him. He was well received. He was Zamfara. He was well received. He was in Sokoto. Sokoto is predominantly a PDP state. He was well received. People in Lagos, in Igbo. But in Bauchi, we learned it was internal crisis between the two factions of PDP, and fortunately enough, the two actors came out to confess. I think they've been hypnotized to confess. The Minister of Federal Capital and the governor inside Yuguda, they confessed that there were charges between them. They are led to the protest and the stoning. And when he was in Katsina too, we learned that when he wanted to visit the Yaradua family, that was when it didn't happen. And these are all PDP dominated states. You will have to remember that Bauchi was the heart of the crisis in 2011. And inside Yuguda happened to later apologize to Nigerians because of his comments after the violence that snowballed into crisis. And we should put issues where it belongs, and we should not try to be sentimental in order to win votes by telling lies on daily basis. The Bible says, say the truth and let the devil be ashamed.
It's all right, Larry. Thank you very much for your contribution from Ondo. I think we should just speak one or two things there. We talked about this last week too, in Katsina, in Bauchi, I think somewhere in Kaduna, where there were news that Mr. President was pelted by stones. We even saw at a PDP rally in Bauchi where the FCT minister was stoned with pure water. That was on television. There were issues, there were stories as regards the position of political stakeholders in all of this. But he also brought to fore again the insinuation that this was a PDP, a totally PDP affair, and it has nothing to do with the opposition. What are your thoughts along that line?
Well, one thing is clear. If you're looking at in criminal law, you look at. Well, let me even use the issue of murder. One of the things you look out for to establish a case against an individual is motive. Okay, you want to ask yourself, what would be PDP's motive for stoning the president? Does it make sense? Why, if I were an APC candidate, why would I stone my presidential candidate? It doesn't make sense. It's illogical.
Could there be people within the PDP who are not pleased with the president? Is that not a possibility?
If they're not pleased with the president, then it means they're not PDP, obviously. It's illogical. Think about it.
No,
there's no way I can support you.
I think that even stands logic upside down.
No.
In private elections, there are winners, there are losers. Of course, during the APC primary election, you saw about 5 aspirants, right? It's possible that I did not win, and then I probably still nurse some grudges. Just as we saw in the PDP last year, some people didn't want, obviously did not want Mr. President to get a second-term ticket.
Why would I stone someone I'm in support of? Simple question. Why would I throw stones at someone I'm in support of?
That's what I'm saying, that probably there are people within the PDP who are not even in support of the president.
If they're not in support of the president, then they're obviously for the opposition. It's simple. No, I mean, it's simple. The person stoning obviously is voting for the opposition. And if he's voting for the opposition, it therefore follows that he's with the opposition.
Do you now blame the opposition for the actions of such person who is a card-carrying
Certainly
member
no
of the
supporter of the president will stone the president. That is my position.
That's all right. Let's also look at the position of hate speech in all of this. Because last week, I even brought the paper here, the Nation newspaper, for what date is this now? January 30, I believe it was on Friday. Tom Polo, I insist Nigeria will break if Jonathan loses. The Kubo attacks Danjuma minister. Jonathan will concede if. There are reactions to this position. Of course, the APC is saying that when Governor Rotimi Amechi made, according to the APC, harmless comments, some of the PPC stakeholders were invited by the ESS and the police. Of course, the DNI, Jamaatul Nasir Islam, has also urged this former Niger militants, Topolo and Asari Dokubo, to desist from heating up the polity at the February election. But don't you smell a rat that these individuals have not been invited yet, have not been questioned, have not the presidency, the PDP, have not spoken against their stance at this time?
You see, I'm not sentimental when I talk.
You recall that the National Security Advisor also came up with the idea that these people should be arrested.
Let me answer your question. You see, if you arrest them, you can't even try them.
Okay.
Because just saying something or thinking about something is not enough grounds for you, to be, what you call it now, to be arrested or tried. As you're sitting down here, and I'm sure once or twice you might have been provoked and you got to a point where you wish someone dead. Of course, you didn't back it up, you didn't follow it up, but just, if only, you understand what I'm saying? Or someone just annoys you and you just wish their leg would break or something like that. It's a thought in your head.
I can't
recall. You might even say,
I can't recall I had such thoughts.
No, anyway, but I mean, this has happened to some people. Or you just say certain things. It's not enough grounds until you back it up or follow it up. But that's not to say that such statements should be condoned. What I expect is a situation where, because if we all go about, if each of the groups begin to go about saying things like that, definitely the polity is going to be heated up.
Are you not baffled that Mr. President hasn't said a word as regards these people who are obviously big supporters of the president?
The president cannot respond to everybody. He cannot. He cannot begin to talk. I speak from here. Somebody else is speaking. I cannot say something and then the president says, Victor, you shouldn't be saying that. I mean, you understand what I'm saying?
Sorry, let's just take a minute break to take a commercial, one or two. We'll be back with you. Don't go away.
Which person can you carry?
And we now for MTN
Catch Quest.
You see the look? Plenty people don't they win 10 million naira every week and 1 million naira every day. To win, just dial *170# for free and correct who go to with you. Whether that TV or generator or phone, you fit win all for free every day.
MTN, everywhere you go.
Welcome back. It's Call Digest Monday, and I have Victor High with me as we discuss ahead February polls, the call for peaceful election. The position of people at this time would be that the question really would be, do these statements carry any potential of incited violence?
They do. I mean, starting from the call earlier on, we saw what happened in 2011 when the issue of the baboon and the, what is it called again, and the dog, you know, the blood was split on the road and all that. We've seen cases where people have said if they do not win, there will be, you know, and things like that. And people are reading these signals. They're seeing it as a sign to go out there. And you find some people who are really overzealous, who want to maybe make their principals happy or think that that's the position of their principals. So statements like that are capable of inciting violence. But you also have to understand where these people are coming from. I'm talking about Tumpolo, Asari Dokubo and Co. If in 2011 people made statements like this, and then they made good those statements, and there has been no peace since in the North, whether they were directly, the makers of the statements were directly responsible or not, and then they've made things, in fact, governance impossible for the current administration or the president. What they are saying is, not to justify, but what they're saying simply is, if you make governance impossible for my person simply because it's not from your part of the country or because it's from a minority, do not expect that when you get there, you will find peace.
You're not in any way supporting Asari Dokubo.
No, hear what I'm saying. No, that's not what I'm saying.
Are you?
No, that's not the issue. That's not the issue here. I'm just simply saying to you that this is probably where they're coming from. And because you have to understand their thinking and their mindset in order to be able to probably make any reasonable comments. This is where they're coming from. That if this is what has happened, then you do not expect that when you get there, you're going to enjoy peace.
You know, whatever the intention is, the bottom line is that the utterances are not right. Isn't that the role of DSS and the police, just like the APC has cited, to invite them? Nobody's even talking about arrest. We've heard a lot of invitation. All they need to have done is, what you have said is wrong. Do not, and then they sign a statement of understanding. And then if probably they do that again, then that makes them, you know, then they can be arrested. But in this situation now, looks as if nobody is doing anything about it.
Well, I may not have read on the papers, and I don't know what the facts are. I also do not know whether or not they've been invited. We can only conjecture here as we are.
It's all right.
But, okay.
Just a minute. Let's take this call. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Please turn down the volume of your TV set.
All right. This is Idowu speaking from Ilori.
What's your name again?
Idowu.
Idowu?
Yeah, good morning.
Okay, please go ahead with your contribution, Idowu.
I'm Idowu speaking from Ilori.
Go ahead, sir.
I just want to agree with your guest this morning. As a matter of fact, he has been approaching issues from a very factual point.
Okay.
Okay? Talking about the issue of the threat statement, it's so unfortunate that nothing has been done by the security forces. Okay?
That's right.
But you see, when you look at what has been made before, it encourages Tompolo and the Asari Dokubo to make such statements. You recall that Amiki made such a statement that if APC does not win, that APC will form a parallel government. Did you bring such a program, or did you come to the program with the paper that day and start discussing why Amici was not arrested? Did anybody raise any eyebrow why Amici was not arrested? Do you know that forming a parallel government is simply means that there will be a war and will not obey the government of the day?
Okay.
Okay. I would have often loved to contribute to some issues that we actually discussed before, but I've been trying, but my phone was not picked. We were talking about how to prosecute the Boko Haram war, and the man sitting there was making some very good points. You see, there are some that actually obeyed the success of prosecuting this Boko Haram war. You remember when Jericho, the former chief of army staff, when we bombarded Baghdad, you recall that there were some other leaders that were threatened to take him to ICJ simply because he was after the terrorists. You remember in Yako also made a statement that even General Buhari also made a statement that any attack on Boko Haram is an attack on the North. In the midst of all this, how do you expect the military to prosecute this war successfully?
It's all right.
We need to be we need to come out very bold. And we need to be very clear about whatsoever we do. Talk about the issue of the Agagbe staff and the yes, I'm not supporting Agagbe to himself. But Governor should not condescend himself so low. She is so low to be coming out at this time. First of all, there are some people that will stand without responsibility. Governor Fashola appointed somebody to head that particular military. As this your guest rightly pointed at the other time. Agagbe might not really be the owner of that company alone. He might just be the highest shareholder in that company. That does not mean you can take any decision unilaterally. You understand? Now I'm talking about the personal income tax. I think you think the personal income tax or not. Why now? Why is it that such a statement has not been?
It's all right. I believe you made your point there, Ido. Thank you very much for your contribution from Ilore. But how do we place this? Because I'm getting a little bit confused. Without trying to defend our actions on Call Digest, but I believe that when Amici made that statement, it was an issue for discussion on this program. I'm not sure he watched it then. But even if we did not discuss it, when Amici made that statement, of course, which we did, does it in any way nullify the relevance of these statements at this very sensitive time, given
nobody is saying nullify
our history?
No.
Does it not baffle you that nothing is being done about it? That's exactly what I'm saying. Because prior to this time, we saw an advertorial by the state governor. I'm sure you can also recall that. But all of these things just keep happening, and the best we do is talk about them. But the leadership doesn't see anything wrong with it.
Well, I think you will have to let's look at these things very well. It wasn't just Amici that made this statement. You recall that Oyegun made a similar statement. If you say Amici had immunity, Oyegun certainly doesn't have immunity, and so he can be picked up as well. But what do? If you pick up a man like that, of course APC will get up and they say, you are coming after their people, but statements like that are capable of inciting the system. They're already preparing the ground for violence. When you now say, who decides who? The only body constitutionally empowered or legally empowered to declare, to talk about whether an election is free and fair or not is INEC. And then the courts, who will interpret whatever INEC is if you have any disagreement with it. You understand what I'm saying? And for any individual to sit down and decide on their own subjectively that an election is free or unfree, probably because you have lost or won and all that, it's not right. And you say, if not, you're going to form a parallel government. You know what that is? You're splitting the country down the middle. That is even more, that is a seditious statement. You understand what I'm saying? Now, we look at things like this. Now, you cannot expect, you don't see things like that happening and then you come and say because these people have spoken. I told you the basis upon which I think these people have spoken.
Just a minute, sir.
Yes.
Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Welcome to Call Digest.
Okay,
good morning.
I'm Shegun.
Shegun from Abuja.
Yeah.
Please go ahead with the contribution.
Okay. See,
your case there, yeah?
Yes.
Your case, I hope it's not, I hope it's from media house or it's representing PDP.
He's a public affairs analyst. He's a public affairs analyst, though.
Okay, although as much as to have any political ground or to hear his view, he should not be using his platform to come and deceive or campaign for another party.
How do you mean?
So clearly, where he belongs to, he is supposed to be neutral in assessing things. He asked a question that can a person who loves Jonathan told Jonathan about it. And the people, the governor of Bauchi also came out to apologize that what happened is an internal mistake. Still doubting. You're telling me now, let this man, we should be more enlightened. No, I'm not saying that the two parties, PDP and Labour, should be waging war against each other because in this country we need it and it must be maintained. But our individual right to vote for everybody we have in mind to vote for. He's using a platform to come and canvass. If we want to talk or to discuss anything, let us be neutral service. Or let everybody identify themselves and even for PDP or even for...
No, Shegun, everybody has a fundamental right to even pitch a tent, okay, with any political party. Probably I'm the only one that is required to be to be an umpire,
but even
not to have any affiliation. So he preserves that right to either show his support for any party or the other. You are also, you know, expressing your right now to either approve or disapprove whatever he says on television.
And I have nothing against that.
It's all right. Thank you very much, Shegun, for your contribution. It's all right.
Well, I want to say something. I want to say something to Shegun. You see, what I've found over time is there's a level of intolerance that I don't understand. That people will not stand for anything that contradicts or shakes what they believe at all. What he needs to say to me is, the things I have said, are they true or not? You don't come and say, man is telling lies. You contradict what I have said.
Israel called earlier. The last time Israel called on the show, he called himself an APC advocate. Maybe this will settle the dust. Victor, are you a PDP advocate?
I don't know what you mean by PV.
Let's move away from that. Let's move away quickly. But let us look at this report. Sometimes last week, you know, lots of people called me and they were talking about an allegation, an alleged statement by Bishop David Oyedepo, saying that he will unleash the gates of hell on anyone who opposed the re-election bid of President Jonathan. And the question I've always asked is, come on, Facebook is there, Twitter is there, bring me the video. This is a church and that has a media system.
Exactly,
I mean, they are recorded, they are on the internet. I saw the video myself, I didn't hear anything like that. And then it's amazing the kind of you know, fever it caught on social media. People started commenting, people wrote a whole article on a video that did not exist. How do we ensure that we don't feed on such cheap rumors?
You see, the thing
ahead
is,
the
there's
February election?
There's so much propaganda, and this is the unfortunate part of it. The propaganda war is much more than, and this is why we need to be very careful, because some of the people, I found a situation where on Facebook, for instance, or on social media, good friends have become enemies based on things that don't even... A man makes a post, his friend just comes and it's destroying relationships, which is really unfortunate. Some people make allegations that are not substantiated. You find responsible media, CNN will come and say, well, this has not been verified. You understand? To exonerate themselves, because they may have heard such a thing, but they're not sure whether or not it's true. Now, when you find somebody just comes and then plants something, and then if no one contradicts it immediately, the next person reposts it, and so on and so on, and soon it goes viral. And a lie often repeated will be believed, and that's the reason for a lot of the problems we're having here. There are too many rumors, too many propagandas, and they are being injected into the system, you know, and it is causing a lot of problem. But this is where we come in, to be able to bring out facts. And unfortunately, because we already have held on to some of these lies.
But is this a Nigerian factor? Because you even meet people who become so passionate about issues like that and say, it's the truth. And then you're asking them, have you seen evidence? But they don't even really care about evidence as much as they care that it should be the truth, that they can talk about it.
Based on their perspective, based on the beliefs they hold. You know, any rumor that supports what you believe in, you will hang on to. They say he stole 30 trillion. In fact, there was somewhere was saying something this morning. Yeah, he even said $33 trillion. And then someone had to question it. This was on a forum I was on BBM. He said, do you know what $30 trillion is? You know? And the guy had gone to town with it and was really pushing 30 trillion without thinking. You know, so when we bandy figures and things like that, sometimes common sense flies out of the window. But some of us, our job is to sit down, analyze these things objectively, and let people see things in the proper perspective and in the way it is.
Let's
Not
get back
everyone
to
will like it, of course.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, this is Zebedee from Aba.
Zebedee, can you turn down the volume of your TV set?
I'm out of that place. I mean, I'll go out of my salon.
Okay, beautiful. Go ahead with your contribution, Zebedee.
I just want to comment on what the former CBN governor said.
Okay.
It's true. Everything he said is true. The Congress is not trying to be specific based on all our knowledge. I began to wonder, the woman that is so educated like that got into power, onto politics, and she refused to tell us the truth, what is happening. Everything the man says to me is true. Look at that state where she comes from. She's a governor who is doing nothing for us. Look at the way we were made as very bad, and she got busy praising the man, and she comes from this honorable state that nothing has been done. In nothing, we have no infrastructure here, and they're busy praising him. So this is the kind of state we come from. So there is a lot of corruption. There's a lot of corruption. That is what I want to say.
It's all right. Thank you very much, Zebedee. Regards to the people of Aba, you know, this brings us back to...
Again, before the rumor goes out and then people begin to believe it, she's not from Abia State. Her husband is. She's from Delta State.
Just a minute. You know, this just brings us back to what I was talking about earlier, because we have a situation here where for instance, citizen journalism on social media. I think the difference for now is that on a TV station like this, before we report any story, we must have confirmed it.
Of course.
That is the ethics of professional journalism. Yes. But how do we ensure that this does not become a banana republic, or what is it they call it? That people just don't come out to say anything they like, because that's what it's becoming now. Somebody comes up and say, this is how I see it, the other person, and we all hide under that umbrella of freedom of expression without anybody questioning.
No, but this, I just give you an example now. First of all, I just fed a lie to the public now. Maybe he's not aware. Okay. Okonjo-Iweala is from Delta State. Okay, from Delta State, I think Ibuzo Ogwashukwu. So her father is a traditional ruler in that place.
Okay.
And the man is her husband is from Abia. Okay, fine. Now, if we do not correct this immediately, the word will go out, and then the next person will say to the other, because they heard it on TV, you know, that she's from Abia State. And that's how these rumors fly, unless they're corrected. Okay? Now, unfortunately, the nature of social media is such, and this is something which is interesting for media students globally, because it's a new form of media right now.
They call it the new media.
New media, exactly. So it has just evolved. It will take a while for us to be able to go into things like either regulating it or getting the rules of engagement and things like that. But it is in nature. It is such that you can sit from where you are, start a blog, and if you have people following you, whatever you feed there, if they believe in it, they buy into it, that's it. Things can go viral within seconds. You know, the hashtag is such a powerful tool, you know, and things can fly. So the thing for us to do, and because of the convergence in media right now, you know, across all platforms, you know, it's difficult right now to separate one from the other. The next thing for us to begin to do now is to say to ourselves, okay, how do we begin to separate the wheat from the chaff? It will take a while, but, you know, we also have a duty, those in the media and all that, to begin to say, help people now begin to sift and begin to see, okay, this is a more serious media, that is not, and, you know, to begin to regulate as well. It's difficult, it's challenging. I don't think anyone has the answer right now, not even in the US and in the more developed
you know, I was asked recently to write on the impact of digital transformation, you know, on the way broadcasters in Africa go about their jobs. You know, one bottom line is that whatever happens to the medium or the media, of course, there are a lot of changes. TV stations now have websites. They have what they call eyewitness reportage platform. Whatever happens thereafter, the bottom line is what certainly remains unchanged is journalism itself, the dissemination of factual, balanced and well-written news that is timely and relative. And I think that that's what we're using this platform for, to tell people, watch out for evidence before you believe. You must also be conscious that there are a lot of manipulation that can be done on a computer system now. They can put someone's head on another image. So you just don't go out believing everything you see. There is a possibility that it is just a lie that is colored digitally. Now, let's quickly touch on this other issue. What role now do you believe or do you think the electorate has to play, especially now that the elections is just 2 weeks away, in ensuring a peaceful conduct?
Less than 2 weeks.
Less than 2 weeks away, actually.
What role has what?
The electorate has to play.
Well, first, let us remember the fact that each of us has only one vote, and that you have power in that single vote. But more importantly, your power does not go beyond your single vote. The minute you begin to think that you have more than one vote, that's where problems begin. Respect the other man's opinion and his right to his one vote. And you have your one vote, exercise your one vote and let it speak for you. And allow the other man exercise his one vote and let it speak for him. If we respect these simple rules of engagement, there will be peace. But where we have a problem is after using our one vote, then we want to determine how the other man's one vote should be, or begin to interpret the other man's one vote, then there will be problems. So
let's take this last call on the show this morning. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Welcome to Call Digest.
Okay, can I want to comment on what you are doing now.
Okay, calm down. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Oyelapa, I'm calling from Abuja.
From Abuja. Oye Lola from Abuja. Okay, now you have the floor. Go ahead with your contribution, Oye Lola.
Okay. I've been listening to the man on your video.
Okay.
When people are calling themselves public analysts, one needs to be objective in everything you are doing. Then secondly, the media is the one giving all this publicity to all those these militants. I've been in Port Harcourt. I stayed in Port Harcourt for 17 years. I know after 1999, around 2000, he doesn't have anything. Where did he get all these billions? He cannot ask questions. Where did he get it? His wife was living where I know him very well. His wife was living in Cody Camp over there. And now people are just celebrating all those boys. Where are they getting those billions? Those are the things that we're supposed to look into. Not listen to all these people, the Nigeria and government, all these things. The election that is coming, we need everything, we need to analyze it. What are our problems? Take the use of the petrol. They are not paying marketers. They are doing Akula. They are not paying us. And they are saying that the marketers are suffering. So those are the things that we supposed to. Economy is bad. Talk to the north. The north are celebrated for the pay. And then that the money, that is the reason why economy in the north now is very bad. They are not paying them. We say that people are doing ARPG all this thing before. Now these are the issues that need to be addressed. And people should not be celebrating all these people that make money from nothing. They didn't work for it, and they are making money. They are using their people. The billion that he got now, let it go and use to develop his area where he comes from. Let him spend the money and he's leaving Nigeria to go and start another school outside Nigeria. And he's making money, he's using those people to make money, and he's saying that Nigeria will break. What type of fraud is that thing? So let us be objective. When you are bringing out public analysts, you know the reality they belong. People should not become everybody public analyst. When you know that if you have a biased mind.
Oyelola.
I know that I have a biased mind also.
Oyelola.
Let's get it right. Let them get it right.
Just a minute.
I'm for APC because of where I come from. I don't understand. I'm not saying that people have his own opinion.
It's all right.
I have to sit back from APC. That is bad. But when you are bringing somebody, let's
Just a minute, Oyelola. What happens when I bring a guest that is APC, he's sympathetic just like you? I'm not sure you call on the phone to fire the guest like this. So once in a while, you see, the idea is that balance is the soul of broadcast journalism. On Monday, you have someone who is not supporting your own idea. On Tuesday, it might be different. So you don't come up to condemn him because he is not in allegiance with your APC.
I have a sympathy for APC. That's my, and I have worry. I am not condemning.
So if he doesn't support your sympathy, it doesn't affect his credibility as a public affairs analyst.
Please, sorry. Let me clarify that thing. When you are bringing somebody, those public analysts are supposed to be objective.
Okay, I'm going to ask him that question again. I think I get where you're coming from, Oyelola. You know, I asked you earlier if you were a PDP advocate, so that maybe next time you come, we'll say a PDP public affairs analyst, because that seems to be the insinuation.
I will say this to you.
The viewership are getting.
I'll say this to you. Truth can sometimes be very bitter. People have held on to certain views, and when those views are challenged, they're not comfortable. You know, and I will look at things and I always say, as long as I sit on this seat and I'm confronted with issues, I will look at them as dispassionately as possible. Now, the problem is sometimes when people don't hear what they want to hear, or when they advances their interests, and they get angry. I'm waiting to see that person will come and say, okay, this thing you said is not correct. Take me up on it. If what I've said is not true, then that's fine.
Or maybe, Victor, also that probably there's no such thing as sitting on the fence. That everybody, after all,
there is nobody that does not have, of course, because like I said, you're entitled to one vote. On that day, you will not tear your ballot. you will vote for somebody. No matter who you are, who you are, you will vote for somebody.
We have to round up now. Let's just quickly check out what the Nation has to offer, in case you're yet to see the Nation newspaper. Panic in PDP as Amechi woos Lamido for Buhari. The writer here, Rivers, Jigawa governors hold talks in Dutse. Scores killed in Boko Haram attack on Maiduguri. Military JTF repel sect. 18 die in Potiskum Gombe blast. Bloodstains and abandoned footwear litter the scene of a suicide blast in Potiskum. Other stories, Buhari will deliver 20,000 megawatts in 4 years. That's an amazing promise. Saludo to Okonjo-Iweala, 30 trillion naira missing under you. Federal government considers schools closure for polls, how to prevent post-election violence by GNI, APC to DSS, police, arrest Tumpolo Dokubo, others. Winners Chapel explains Jonathan's visit to church. Thank you very much, Victor, for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having me.
We appreciate you all the time, and we hope that you also find time to join us. Yeah. I'm sure you're not a politician yet, and you are not participating actively in this 2015 election, so you have time to join us for other issues as time goes on. And that wraps it on the show today. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget that you can follow us on Twitter at Core Digest Live. So in case you can't reach us on telephone, that's another alternative for you to participate on the show. And for viewers outside Nigeria who are having challenges streaming live on our website, all you need to do is download the WAWO TV application, WAWOO TV, and you can get that done on your mobile device as well using the Google Play Store. And you just register and follow the instructions. There are about 2 news stations there, Al Jazeera and Core TV News. Click on Core TV News and you'll be seeing me smiling right back at you. We'll take a break now. Of course, that wraps the show this morning, but we'll be back with the top of the hour news. Stick around. Don't go away.
You can now watch Core TV News live from anywhere in the world on our website, www.coretvnews.com. Click on Live TV on our website and watch us live.
And welcome to Core TV Primetime Days.
To follow us on Twitter, click on Twitter icon on our website. On Facebook, click on the Facebook and YouTube to see all our previous news production. You can also watch us live on YouTube. Click Core TV, leave a space, then News. Core TV News, a 24-hour news station.